Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, welcome back to Transformation Tuesdays at Loving Me Before I Love You. I am your host, Coach Tammy Nicole, and I am so excited about today's episode. I'm more excited about the episode simply because it talks about the very visibility of women when we are isolating or having solitude. So I'm going to take y'all back a little bit, okay? So it was a Friday night. The kids were with their dad. The house was finally quiet. And for the first time in a long time, I had a moment to just be. I poured a glass of wine, lit a candle, and sat on the couch thinking, this is peace, right? But as the silence grew louder, the peace started to feel a little bit like something else, something a little heavier. It felt like solitude. And not the empowering kind. That night, I had to face a hard truth. I had built a life that looked strong and independent on the outside. But behind the scenes, I was shouldering everything. And I was doing it alone. I was tired. Not just tired of my bones, but tired in my soul. See, independence is beautiful. It's powerful. But it can also be isolating. And that's what we're diving into today, the struggles of independence. We're talking about navigating solitude, unpacking the weight of self-reliance, and finding balance between strength and softness. And I'm not on the journey alone because I know I got a lot of you here with me. But I actually have a special guest joining me today who knows this walk very well. She's a powerhouse in her own right, a woman who's turned her silent battles into bold breakthroughs. And today, she's pulling back the curtain on what is really mean to be strong when one is clapping, when the lights are off, and when it's just you and your inner voice. So grab your journal, your tea, or whatever keeps you grounded, and let's lean into this conversation together because independence shouldn't mean invisibility. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Keisha.
Hey. How you doing, Coach Tammy Nicole?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well and so excited to be here. I can't wait to dive into this conversation because I have some tea to share.
Girl, I think a lot of times we think that being independent and, handling things all on our own is a badge of honor. It's like almost like a pick me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And until you actually are in that moment where there really is no one around, there really is nothing happening in your space, you kind of be like, wait a minute, I don't know if I really like it here.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, when I first opened up the show, like I can remember that day of feeling like, dang, I used to always say, get these kids. It's your time.
Yes.
Get these kids. And then they will be gone and I'll be like, wait a minute, bring them back.
Right. What am I supposed to be doing? What do I do? I don't have anything to do. Yeah. I totally can agree to that because for me, I was a young mom. I had my first child. I got married. I moved out of state all before I was 21.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm thinking I'm grown and I'm thinking I'm independent, but I had no idea what that really meant.
Right.
I had no idea what I was really getting myself into. I just knew, oh, I got a baby. I mean, who do you know? Let's just put it like this. Who do you know that gets married before you even graduate high school nowadays? That's old fashioned. That's back in the day, grandma, great grandma, whatever. But I actually, let's see, I got married on Christmas break, my senior year of high school. Went back to school, had a baby, graduated high school, and moved out of state. And I wasn't even old enough to drink. I wasn't old enough to I was 18 years old. So independent to what? I didn't even know what that meant, And so my true independence came later in life because unfortunately I was married until I wasn't. And at 33, my partner was gone. So then now I have to be independent, but I don't even know how.
Yeah. That part.
Yeah. I don't even know how. I just know I'm looking at these kids and I have to go to work and I got to take care of everything by myself. But it's like you said earlier, I was kind of already taking care of everything by myself, but I didn't know it. So kind of independent, but not really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, independently doing work or doing the things, doing the checklist, but mentally the independence hadn't checked in, hadn't clocked in. It was like
not at all. Not at all.
But I think a lot of times I don't know, when we talk about independence, a lot of us talk about it from a standpoint of like it's a celebrated thing. It's a badge of honor. It's like, who did this? Beyonce did the song, All the Women Who Independent.
Yeah.
Okay, right? And it was like a badge of honor when in reality, we as women are not even, we're supposed to live in a soft life. We're supposed to be, covered and catered to and protected, etc. But we want to do it all by ourselves. And it's like doing it by yourself seems to be like this amazing thing. And it's like, is it really that amazing?
No, ma'am. I don't want to do it by myself. I'm sorry. I'm over that part of life. For the last 20 years, I've been that quote unquote independent, strong Black woman doing all the things, but it's a heavy load to carry.
Yeah.
So where is the badge? Because I'm carrying that on my back too. I'm ready to share that with someone. I'm ready to, divvy up some of the things because in reality, if we look at life and your daily routines and what you need to do and where you need to go and how you need to dress, how you need to act, how you need to speak, it's a lot, and we are as Black women, sought after, but then put down.
Yeah.
We are criticized, but copied. It's just a constant back and forth with it. So to be independent and strong and on your own and do all the things, what do you do when you peel back those layers and you're just sitting down in your own quiet time? Like you said, the kids are gone and what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Having to stare yourself in the face with who are you, right? I think a lot of times that independence rides on what we do and not who we are.
Mm-hmm. It does. It does.
And so when we have that moment to sit in the stillness of our own self, it's uncomfortable. It's like, wait a minute. One, I shouldn't just be sitting here. I need to be doing something because I'm supposed to stay busy 24/7 until I go to sleep. So that piece of uncomfortableness kicks in. Then it's like, but I don't have nothing to do. Everything is done. The house is clean. The laundry is, washed and folded. The kids are gone with their dad. There's nothing for me to do.
But is there?
But be with myself. And a lot of us don't know how to be with ourselves. We don't know how to embrace who the heck we are because our thing is to be on the go. It's just to be busy, 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 attending to other people.
A lot of us don't know because for me, it was like, okay, if I wasn't somebody's mom, I wasn't somebody's wife, I wasn't someone's employee, I wasn't somebody's, sister, cousin, daughter, who was I? Mm, I don't know. And it took a minute for me to actually figure out who I really was and then learn what I liked from what I didn't like and set that tone and create my own narrative rather than let somebody else control it for me. So that
Let's
was
talk about it. How did you go? What was that process like for you?
before I stopped crying every day. um, initially for me, because I'm an only child and I was
Mm-hmm.
raised with two strong minded, strong willed parents, but they catered to me because I was the only child. It was just me. And then from that, I went to a husband who catered to me, gave me everything. So everybody did everything for me. So Keisha never had to do anything for herself. But
Mm-hmm.
then here I am at 33 years old. I got a divorce. I'm a hairstylist at this point, but I'm not taking this serious like this is my career. This was just something to do to get out of the house. The kids finally went to school. Let me do something, right? This was my something. And so when my husband left, I'm panicked. I'm going to have a nervous breakdown because I know I need to take care of these children. He's not here. Now I have to do this on my own. On top of everything else that I was already doing, I got to do this on my own. So I had a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with my dad and I was like, oh my God, Daddy, I need to get a job. And he's like, doing what? Like, seriously, what are you going to do? You will be new to wherever you're going. You're not going to have the flexibility that you have now working in the salon. Your hours are going to be controlled, and you know how it goes. Last man hired, first man fired. Like, what are you really going to do? So I was panicked. So I asked him, well, I think I should get a job, and I'm not dumb. I could be trained to do something, whatever happens. He said, we'll revisit this conversation in 6 to 8 months. And if it's not working, we'll figure something out. But we never had that conversation again because I had to look in the mirror and have that hard conversation with myself and say, okay, it's on you now. What can you do? Be strong, put them big girl panties on, and make something shake. And I had these kids looking at me like, okay, Mom, what's next? They needed to eat. They needed a roof over their head. They needed clothes on their back. So that's initially how it started for me to start just really honing into my own and understanding who Keisha was, not just as a person, but as an adult woman, because everybody treated me like a child.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody coddled me. These are my kids. I'm not the kid. I have the kids. So what do you have to do? And it was even so far as like, I literally had to go open my own bank account. I didn't even have that. Everything was connected with the husband that was no longer there. So my journey started off really hard. Like my community and my tribe of people who love me, I didn't know how much they loved me until they was loving on me, honestly. And if it wasn't for them, I'm gonna give you these 5 minutes to have this pity party. Cry it out, dry your face, get up, let's get it started. You got stuff to do. So friends and family were giving me like tasks to do every day and homework to do every day until I really knew I can do this. I got this. And it took a while, some tears, some hard conversations, either being cussed out or cussing somebody else out, but, they say, write a letter and make it plain. So I literally wrote a letter to myself and I wrote
Mm-hmm.
a letter to God. And it was just like, I have no other options. I have to make this work. But if it's not going to be so hard, can we sometimes take the easy route? Does it always have to be the long way? but give me the strength and the courage to persevere. And I got that. It took a while, but hey, y'all, I'm here. I got
Yeah.
that. So through my trials and tribulations, instead of always saying, woe is me, it was just a testimony, a strong testimony that was being created so that now I can tell somebody else, girl, get up. You know what I mean? You got this. You can do it. Not every day is going to be your worst. It may not be your best, but God willing, you'll see it through till tomorrow and you'll get it together. And that's what I had to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we think our lives are our own, right? We think that the thing that we're going through is all about us and our own journey, when reality it's about the people that we're going to encounter along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to be an encourager, being able to be the example of saying, hey, I've been through this. If I can go through it, so can you. Being able to just vocalize their pain that they can't seem to get out, because you've been through it and been there. Our lives are not our own. And I say it all the time because we are here for other people. Like, that's the reason there's a connection. That's the reason why we interact and have relationships. It's not just for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we tend to think that all the isolation, all the independence, all the self-resiliency is like about us, and it's not. And when you go through the phase, it's like, oh snap, why am I here? Can we get something else on the like, let somebody else do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Or
we
that why
don't.
kind of feeling, why me? Why not you? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. And we always think our burden is so heavy. It's heavy for us. And I'm not saying that it's not heavy, but somebody else's story you couldn't handle either. So
Exactly.
what looks easy, when we see people living the life or having the things that we desire, it looks easy because we weren't there for the journey to reach where they are.
Exactly.
We only see the outcome. We don't see the process. And the process is what matters. The process is where all the hard work takes place. So when we talk about like being being independent and self-resilience, and like what does that look like in the solitude, etc., it's not always the glitz and glam. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I can walk out and say, oh, I raised my children by myself, for people to like applaud me. But at the same time, I was unhappy doing it. So why would we be like, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not something to be applauded. Granted, you'd be like grateful that you made it, grateful that they turned out amazing, grateful that they weren't, involved in foolishness and all of those good things. But we weren't built to do it by ourselves. We weren't built to do it alone.
I know
And
I
so
wasn't.
I'm
I
not
need
made.
the softness. I don't want to be the husband and the wife, the mother and the father. I don't.
Yeah. I'm not built for this. And so I think sometimes when we get into these circumstances and we're doing something, and let me pause for a second. Single women also have this struggle, single with no children. It's not just because we got kids and, have the responsibility of other lives. You can be a single woman with no children carrying around the independent banner and still live in solitude and not know who you are, and the weight is still heavy because you're not exercising your abilities to open up and experience life with partnership with other people, to be softer, to be a little more lax, and to understand who the heck you are. So it's not just a single mom mentality of independence and resiliency. Like, everybody can be in this space. So
Yeah,
I don't want nobody to be thinking, oh, they're only talking about single mamas because they don't want to be single and they don't want to be raising these kids by themselves. And no, I don't want to do life by myself.
that part. That part. I agree. I mean, I never wanted to do these things by myself. I mean, nobody gets up and gets married and says, "Oh, I can't wait to get divorced." But life happens, you know what I mean? And it takes a shift and you fall down. But when you get up, it's all about, okay, so what now? What's the plan? What are you going to do now that you're up?
Yeah.
And you have to sometimes truthfully look yourself dead in the mirror and have those hard conversations. Be honest with yourself, because sometimes we're not honest with ourselves, but be truthfully honest with ourselves and just, you know, have a vision, an honest vision of what I would like to see for myself and how do I curate that.
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
Yes, I say this, and really in 2025, it's been the thing that I say the most. If you don't have a vision for your life, you have goals without a real destination. Because a lot of us create goals for things that we want based upon what we've seen from other people that look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But having a full vision for your life means that you create goals that align with that vision for you to make that masterpiece a reality. It's like getting a 1,000-piece puzzle and you put the puzzle box on the table so that you can see what you're trying to create. And each puzzle piece is a goal or a step towards making that picture on the box a reality on your table. And that's life. Like, that's what we are doing with life. But it's like, what picture did you paint already? What vision have you created that you are taking little pieces to put together to make it reflect the same thing? Most of us don't know what that is. You just say, oh, I want money in the bank. So you see somebody who's making a lot of money, let's say doing day trading. Oh, let me go do that.
Mm-hmm.
You see a person taking trips all the time and they show you that they do it through credit card usage and getting points. And, oh, I can go to Dubai on points for $165 because I've racked up all these points to go business class, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me go do that. Let's add that to the list. The latest thing for the last 2 years for New Year's Eve, I want a man, I want a husband. Let me go sit underneath this table and eat these grapes.
Girl, wait a minute. Let me stop you right there. As a joke, do you know I actually did that and couldn't swallow all those grapes? I really couldn't. And I had a friend of mine tell me currently, see, that's why you don't have no man still, because you didn't eat all the grapes. Are you serious? And I really did it as a joke, but yeah.
I mean, it's working for some people, but I feel like anything that you do, right? Like wholeheartedly, anything that you do, if you don't have the belief behind it, none of it's going to really work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that you see it working for other people. It's not working for you because you don't believe that it can. When other people are being successful at anything that is quote unquote trending, anything that is quote unquote like, oh, this is the thing to do, they're having the results and you're not. The reason they're having the results is because they really believe that they could.
And they put in the
weren't just
work. They put in the work though, because I mean, it even says it in the Bible, faith without work is dead. So I could believe something and I could want something but it's not going to magically appear and fall out of the sky. I have to set some goals, which are realistic, long and short term goals to actually get me to that point. And if I don't do that, then like you said, I might as well do nothing at all.
Yeah. But to the point of faith without works is dead. The other part of that though, that their faith, the works for their faith for that particular situation, as far as the grapes under the table, was getting under the table and eating the grapes. So they did the work, right? Like the job said, get under the table, eat the grapes, have the thoughts in mind of the, was it 12 seconds, 12 things or whatever, one thing per month, whatever the case it is. Write all 12 things down, say them as you eat each grape. Like that was the work, right? Like they had. But if you don't believe that any of the 12 things can come to pass, it's not going to happen. So like, for instance, you did it at midnight on New Year's Eve. If I asked you right now, where's the list of items that you said that you wanted to come to pass? Where are they?
I don't know. I just know I can swallow those grapes.
See, but I'm saying you don't know where the list is because you weren't believing that the list would take place. And I'm not saying you directly, but people in general, when it doesn't happen for them, they didn't believe that the list would actually take place, that they don't even keep the list in front of you. They say keep the things that you want in front of your face all the time, on your brain, at the front of your brain at all times, that you're thinking on these things so that they may come to pass. If you're not doing that, then you didn't believe it from the beginning. You just did the activity for the sake of doing it because it's the trend. This is what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So-and-so, yep. They put their TikTok up and they said they got their man, and it's like you're happy for them, but they really believed it. They really wanted it. They really wholeheartedly, and everybody say, oh, that was witchcraft, blah, blah, blah. But some of these people are Christians and they're not believing in nothing but God to bring forth what they were, quote unquote, under that table for. A lot of it is culture. It was Hispanic culture at that, where it came from. So it's not like, ooh, it's full witchcraft. Everybody around here like Ouija boarding it. No, it's legitimate culture practice that somebody else wanted to adopt. It doesn't matter that it was Hispanic, culture. So what? Like, people adopt African American culture all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you see something you want to participate in it. You are a human with freedom. Do what you want to do. But when it comes to your independence and feeling solitude and feeling heavy and weighted and feeling like you don't have a space, it's because you don't know who you are. And I always say, get to know you. Yeah. And you were talking about how that journey was for you. What steps did you actually take when you decided to get to know who is Keisha and what does Keisha want?
It was about, like you said, it was about carrying all the weight. I had to recognize, I keep dragging these bags, and inside the bags that I was carrying, it wasn't even my load. So I had to leave it here. You know what I mean? So as I'm walking on this journey and I'm saying, okay, I'm carrying Joe Blow's baggage. This doesn't belong to me. Let me put it down. I'm carrying Sam's baggage. This doesn't belong to me. I'm putting it down. Once I got further along on my personal journey, that weight became lighter and lighter because I realized I was holding on to stuff and carrying stuff that didn't belong to me. And then when I got there to that point, I had to stop second guessing myself. I had to find the confidence, and be comfortable, not just in my skin, but comfortable with where I was going. and how I was going about getting there, not being afraid to, create boundaries, because we're always afraid to have those boundaries up because you don't want somebody upset with you, or, oh, she thinks she's this, or she thinks but it's a boundary. So I can't keep saying yes when I really want to say no.
Man, please.
I can't just, and this is, sometimes people battle with this, and I'm okay with it now, but like, even if someone invited me somewhere and I knew I didn't want to go and I wasn't going to show up my best self, I still went because they invited me. But now I understand, because I put all these things into place when I was isolated. You don't have to show up if you don't want to, and it's okay. Saying no is okay. Having boundaries is okay. I'm not missing out on anything.
Right.
So when I just set these little, just what I said, 4 different things, when I put those 4 things into play for my life, it started to make things easier. And the shift became more about me when it was always about something or somebody else that really didn't even benefit me.
Right. Right. I always say this question, and my auntie always says when she thinks about the hard stuff of life, she thinks about this question that I give her. How does it serve you? Like, you have to ask that question all the time when you want to do something or not do something. How does it serve you? How do the people serve you? Like, evaluating where you are and where you're trying to go is super, super, super important. But no is a complete sentence. It is not a question mark. It is a complete sentence. And you can say no gracefully. You can always say, you know what? I appreciate you thinking about me. However, I'm not going to be able to attend this event. And that's it. There's no explanation that needs to come behind it. You don't need to be like, I really want to come, but I got to go take care of my grandkids. My daughter asked me to get them this weekend and I can't tell her no. Like, don't nobody need that explanation.
Right.
And the same with work. I think a lot of times we think because we work for people that we have to always abide. They ask you, your answer should always be yes. And it's like, no, the no exists even in the workplace. When you hire me to do a particular job, you hire me to do it within a certain parameter. And if you're taking me outside of that parameter, the answer is no. I'm not bending because that's what you want. Or you use your authority to coerce me into saying yes. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it.
I learned that the hard way. It was, I was so focused at one point on just make the money, because you got to make the money, because you got to take care of these kids, and just do some hair, whether it's good or bad. You did it because you're going to get paid, because you need that money. And I wasn't even serving the people properly. I wasn't even showing up the best version of myself. And so the flip side to that was, I wasn't making any money. I wasn't getting any new clients. I wasn't building anything, of sustenance, because I was just doing it because I was afraid to have those boundaries. I was afraid to say no, because if I say no, I can't do you on Thursday. Can you come on Saturday? And then they couldn't come on Saturday, so I lost you. So then I did a crappy job on Thursday when I knew I shouldn't have did that. But now, the new me, oh no, girl, I can't do it. I'm not a machine. I'm human, and I get tired, and I may have given you the best version of what I could do with these little hands at 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, but 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, no ma'am. And I'm okay with that, because if they really want what I'm giving, the experience that I offer, they'll come when I can give them the best version of me. And I think that's okay.
Absolutely, it's okay. Absolutely. And I think that once we understand who we are, what our limits are, and understanding our own capacity, because a lot of times we don't understand the capacity that we hold. And so we kind of like give away things that we don't even have to give. So So I think that all kind of bounces back and forth into being independent, being, self-reliance, like just wanting to do it all on our own. And most of us don't have to. I think having a great support system, creating a support system in place, if you're not in a romantic relationship, someone that's really like the yin to your yang, or just your partner in the process, you have to create that healthy support system where you have people who can be there to kind of catch the load when you can't hold it.
Mhm. Mhm. But it's also like for me, I had to give myself grace as well. Being self-reliant didn't mean, like you said, doing everything on my own. It really meant that I had to trust myself enough and believe in myself enough that I could, that I would. And then I've got this tribe and this community behind me, that's going to be there for the support that I need.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me well that way, because I was feeling at one point so overwhelmed. It was like brink of tears all the time. And if you said, okay, well, what are you crying about? I don't know, everything all at once.
Much. Yeah.
But, let go of those bags that I was carrying that didn't belong to me, set those boundaries, be okay with saying no. And it's not to be mean, but I was one of those people that I would just show up for you and be miserable and you wouldn't even know it, because everything always came before me. But I always say it's okay to be selfish. And I don't mean in a negative. I mean selfish like self-love and self-preservation and self-pride, because if I'm not good for me, if Keisha's
I'm
not
not
good for
nobody.
Keisha, nothing or anyone else. I'm not conducive to anything if I can't take care of me. So if we wear all these 10,000 hats every single day, never say no, show up, don't have any boundaries, don't do this, don't do that,
Yeah.
how good are you really?
You're not. You got nothing but holes in your cup.
And I had that imposter syndrome for a while because I didn't understand who I was and what my vision was and what the plan was. Because I was so used to being somebody's mom and
Yeah.
somebody's wife, no more, no less.
Yeah, but those are all labels. That's the other thing too, that we have to remember. We are not our label. Like, those are like job descriptions. They're not who you are. Just because you have a title as something doesn't mean that that's all that encompassed within you. You are way more than the title attached to your name.
I didn't know that until I knew that. And I didn't know that until that ring came off. And when that came off, that's when the journey began.
Yeah. And it's always a journey. It's never like, I always tell people, as I, coach and teach women how to love themselves authentically and develop an unshakable self-love. It's like, it's a forever journey. It's a forever discovery process. You will not ever know yourself in full totality because you are changing and growing every day, every week, every year, every month. Like, you're growing. So you're learning new things about yourself, things that have never been touched or exposed. You learn as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's always something new. It's always, and you should look forward to it. It should not be something that is just like, oh my God, so daunting. Oh, I got to learn something new about myself. Oh no. You should be looking forward to the exploration. You should be looking forward to learning the new things that you like and don't like. You're like, oh wait, I thought I liked that. Nah, I don't like that.
Exactly. It's almost that saying, if I knew then what I know now,
Half
I
the
would
stuff
have,
you would.
I would love myself. Like I'm so in love with me right now. But the younger me, Boy, she didn't know. She didn't
Yeah,
know that. And I'm so grateful to really know that right now. And I can be, just so excited to celebrate myself sometimes. It feels good.
that part. That part. Celebrating you without the permission of others, like because you want to.
That part. That's it. I'm just out here now living a whole different life that when I thought it was over because just a person walked away, it's kind of like I now know I can decipher between my wants and my needs.
Hmm.
When you just thought, oh, I just need that. I need that. Do you really need it or do you really want it? Because there's a huge difference between a want and a need. And now I pay attention to those things in my spirit and I understand the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, and we've been talking about independence and all of that. It's like, I'm gonna just say independence is not a badge of honor. It's just something that you're, kind of pushed into doing simply because you have to live, right? But in your independence, learn who you are. In it, don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Don't just be out here living your best life, struggling, overwhelmed, overworked, just all of these things without learning who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're still lost in the sauce. You just
Mm-hmm.
do what you do for the sake of doing it or surviving. And we don't want to survive in life. We want to thrive.
Exactly.
We,
Exactly.
we want to
For
thrive.
me, it was about being quiet enough to remember who I was and what my purpose was and
Hmm.
letting go of the doubts and actually allowing what I felt to be lonely and fearful. It actually told me to slow down and reconnect with what my purpose really was. And I reminded myself, you've been through worse. I've prayed for a certain type of life that I'm building now. I'm not doing this just for today, but I'm doing it for the woman that I'm really becoming, the
Hmm.
woman that I know I can be, for my daughter and my granddaughter. And it doesn't have to mean like, okay, so I'm strong in this and I'm going to be the loudest person in the room. No, my strength came through the decision I've made to keep going when nobody was clapping, when nobody knew it. I had to find the motivation that came from me, not,
Yeah,
people outside looking from the outside looking in. I just chose and kept choosing me over and over again. Even when the path was unclear, I still
yeah,
chose me first. Because I gotta have my own back before anybody else. I gotta have my own back. So I
yeah,
just leaned into things that kind of helped me stay grounded. I journal, I did my vision board. I have my routines. I got good playlists. I go for walks. I do things that make me feel good. So I slap on that red lipstick and them shoes that really hurt my feet. But,
it makes
those
you
are
feel,
my things.
yeah,
Yes. It's just my vibe. And I just, I talk to myself and it's just like, what's your truth? Even in my solitude, I have to understand that I'm not truly alone, but I have a purpose. And so plant those seeds and those roots there. And when you flourish and you blossom and you grow, you never know what can happen. And I feel so much better just being in tune with what's inside. It didn't really matter what, anybody else thought. So that was
no,
the fear that I had to let go, that judgment.
mm, the judgment from others and being a people pleaser. Once you're able to drop those two things, a lot of things in life flourish because you're no longer bound by wondering what will they say, what will they think, because you no longer care.
Mm-mm.
It's like living in your own truth. and your own freedom allows you to, if you want to be independent, that allows you to be independent for real, for real. So if you could give the listeners 3 tips of how to do it where you are living in visibility and not just independence, what would you tell them to do?
Get a routine. And I don't mean something super strict, because I am not a 5 a.m. girly. I'm not going to tell you I'm getting up at 5 o'clock every day to go to the gym. But some sort of routine that you look forward to. You know, I have this routine on Wednesday nights. I come home on Wednesday nights. I light some candles, turn on that playlist, get me a glass of wine, and I sit in the tub until I am pruned up. I let go of everything that happened negative that day. I think about what can I do to make things better. I journal, and I feel good about myself. That's my Wednesday night routine. I do that every Wednesday. So get yourself a routine. And
That's going to be tonight.
Yes, listen. When we're done, that's where I'm headed. The reflection, it helps me when I journal, and I like to reflect in that, because when I journal, I'm just writing, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just writing, and when I go back and say I look at something that I wrote 2 months ago, it's like, wow. Either I was really in a really good place, or dang girl, you really did well getting yourself out of, or seeing yourself through, or, whatever it was. So the reflection is great. So reflect. And I would say have a good tribe and a good community of people that love on you and love you hard, that you can love back equally with, no expectations, just unconditional type of love, truly being yourself, learn to laugh, learn to love, learn to just be, and be okay with that. So I would say to the people, find yourself a routine, reflect every now and again, and have a good tribe.
Awesome. Now y'all heard it from her. She's been through it. I've been through it too. But I think that the biggest thing to take away from this is that you're not alone. There are other people out there that are just like you. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to make change happen, you can do it. But be intentional about it and focus on you. Because we always say here, love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus. If you would love to get coaching, you know how to hit me up at coaching@IamTammyNicole.com. Keisha, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being an encouraging light to the listeners. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And, if one person feels better, hey, 1 in a million, we're all on the journey. We're all on the journey together. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
I loved having you on. Thank you so much for joining. You guys, see you next Tuesday. Love yourself.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.